this evening? Doing fine? Yes, the joke is my wife actually has a job to support our company. I actually went down. This is how bad it is. I went down to a nice slow for everybody to kind of.
What's that?
I do everything I can. She down here started talking about her I said, you know, if you get the wrong person,
probably get talked to ugly.
to make sure I wasn't missing something.
I think they're all calling in sick.
What?
I don't know.
Oh, they're around here. Marty won't be here. She had an operation on her eye yesterday.
Is she still having trouble with that eye?
Yeah, she had hopefully the last operation.
That's right. She told me she hoped this would be the one that fixed it.
Did you get the picture?
It's kind of the hot seat, yes it is.
Not yet.
Another minute?
Oh, Bill's here.
He can. He's not required for a quorum.
Is that one? We're one?
Represented by the media this evening. We're well represented by the media this evening. They have been slacking off the last few meetings.
Yes, they have. Yes, this is great.
Well, John brought some headphones so he wouldn't have to listen to us. heard Sean say if Tom doesn't have to be here, I don't have to be here.
Yes, he does.
There was a little Q word that we need to be concerned about tonight.
Yes, he does.
Okay.
He left.
Ready? We'll go ahead and get started. Mr. Kicklack is on his way, so we'll start out. First item on the agenda is a Pledge of Allegiance. It will be led by Haley Williams, daughter of Charles and Amy Williams of Lowell, Brittany Parker, daughter of Randy and Melissa Parker of Lowell, and Summer Nelson, daughter of Gwen Burkhart of Lowell and Jimmy Nelson of Springdale. All of these young ladies are champion bowlers and honor students. Haley won all scratch events in 3 of the last 4 years. Brittany was handicapped state champion in 2005. Haley, Brittany, and Summer are the Supergirls and the 2007 leaders in team event for state bowling tournaments. They are the Arkansas state champions. They are on their way to the national championship in New York this July and are working hard for donations to help them get there.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is a proclamation to all to whom these premises come. Greetings. Whereas America was founded on the principles of religious faith and freedom, and whereas throughout the history of our state and nation we have humbly prayed for protection, guidance, and comfort where needed, united in repentance, as led and given thanks for the many blessings God has graciously bestowed on this nation since its inception. And whereas the National Day of Prayer is a day set aside by Congress and our governor for all Americans and Arkansans to pray and reaffirm the spiritual principles upon which this nation was founded, and whereas this is the 56th anniversary of consecutive annual observation of the National Day of Prayer and the theme America Unite to Pray, calls based on 2 Corinthians 7:14, if my people which are called by name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land. And whereas across our land on May 3, 2007, Americans will unite at a specific times in prayer for our nation, states, cities, to acknowledge our dependence on God, to give thanks for his many blessings, to recognize our need for personal and corporate renewal and moral value, and to invoke God's blessing upon our leaders and ask him to heal and unite our nation and state. Now, therefore, I, Perry Long, acting under the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Lowell, Arkansas, do hereby proclaim May 3, 2007 as a day of prayer in the city of Lowell, Benton County, state of Arkansas, and urge all residents to pray with diligence, humility, and obedience, and seek the face of Almighty God to direct our paths in the days of year ahead. In testimony whereas I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Lowell to be affixed this 10th day of April in the year of our Lord 2007. Signed, Perry Long, Mayor of Lowell. If you all will stand, please. Gary Thomas, pastor of the First Baptist Church in Lowell, will give the invocation.
Father, it's with privilege that we come here, and we're impressed with what we've heard in the presentation and the dependence upon you. And you can't do anything but bless an organization and a service that leans on you. And Lord, our hearts are saddened across America right now because of what happened at Virginia Tech. And Lord, help us to realize that we are not immune from that happening here. And so we pray that you give our leaders wisdom and direction on our community. Help us to grow and progress in the right way. And as we have new people to come to this community, that, Lord, we will accept those people, and even though they may be different than us, that we will embrace them and love them, and we will grow as a community together. And so I pray that you give our leaders here wisdom and discernment, and realize that there's diversity among us here in Northwest Arkansas, but yet that could be our strength. And so with that, Lord, I just pray that you continue to bless these servants and as they take stands of leadership, and that you'll give us guidance, and that this community will serve the people, and that this will be a great place to live and a great place to worship and a great place to work together. And we thank you for that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Next is our roll call, but I would like to advise the council that Marty Latham had an operation on her eye yesterday, and she will not be present tonight.
Kamala Lamons. Here. Eric Shine.
Here.
Darren Brock.
Here.
Keith Williams.
Here.
Carol Harmon.
Here.
Sean Ingram.
We have a quorum. Consent agenda, Lowell City Council minutes, regular meeting, April 17, 2007. Financial statement for March 2007. The city clerk would like it stated in the record that the March financial statement contains a quarterly report as well. Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments?
This is to go with the updated versions, correct?
Roll call, please.
Marty Latham. Darren, I realize that. She's first on the list. Darren Brock.
Yes.
Sean Ingram.
Yes.
Eric Shine.
Yes.
Kamala Lamons.
Yes.
Keith Williams.
Yes.
Carol Harmon.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda, we would like to amend the agenda and entertain a motion to include the following. A presentation by Craig Stanfield, an ordinance amending Exhibit A, Schedule of Fire EMS Impact Fees to Ordinance Number 719, an ordinance establishing a fire impact fee on certain impact-generating land development in the city of Lowell, Arkansas. G, I would like to move the 100-day speech up right after the public forum. comments? Do I hear a motion, please?
I'll move to amend the agenda.
I'll second.
Second it.
Any comments? Roll call.
Sean Ingram,
Yes.
Carol Harmon. Yes. Keith Williams.
Yes.
Kamala Lamons.
Yes.
Eric Shine.
Yes.
Darren Brock.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is a public forum. Mr. Steve Hill. Would you come up to the podium, please?
I would like to bring up the issue of sewer at Sabre Heights. I know it's an old issue that's been brought up several times before the council in the last 10 to 11 years. I know when I first moved here from Florida in 96 or 95, we moved into the subdivision. It was talked about at that time that at some point that subdivision would be put on sewer from Springdale. Over the years, a lot of things have happened, and now we're to the point where it's no longer an issue of where the sewer trunk lines would come from. So now our subdivision is surrounded by the city of Rogers sewer system, which also supplies our water supply. So what I would like to ask the council is if there's any action on that, or if there's any plans in the future pursuing that, and kind of where we stand on that issue.
Steve, if you'll write your issue on this pad, we'll get back with you and give you an answer, because council cannot give you an answer at the meeting. So just fill out this top part. Just take this big. Next on the agenda is Terry Sayer.
I'd like to reserve my comments for the new business, item D.
Item D. Yes, sir. Thank you, Terry. Next item on the agenda is the mayor's 100-day speech. The first 100 days of my administration have been very busy, and positive thinking has kept me on course to keep my commitment as mayor. I have made decisions that were difficult and not popular, but I made these decisions for what I feel were in the best interest for our city and you, the citizens. For example, when I took office, there was approximately $26 million in active projects ongoing, with only about $3 million in spendable monies for these projects. To me, this is an example of spending money without financial long-range planning, not only for projects, but for city operations as well. What are we doing to bring our city into a more financially stable environment in our first 100 days? We completed a new budget and left a surplus of $735,000. A budget, much like your own, must have surplus funds to accommodate unforeseen expenses that are not included in the budget. We've paid off the remaining loan of $154,114 on the Brown Building downtown on Jackson Street to stop the 8% interest we were paying. Our remaining short-term debts with much more favorable interest are about $360,000. In addition, we also have a $3.3 million improvement bond taken out in 2003 to be paid off in 2028. This bond has a no early pay clause. This year, we have completed relocating the water line on Lincoln Street in preparation for building it into a three-lane collector street in 2008. Springdale Water will reimburse us $232,800, which is half the cost of moving their water line. Adams Street and many other drainage problems have been completed, with more to go. Other projects scheduled for completion this year are Phase 1 of Wardenale Park, Honeysuckle Bridge, street maintenance building, Puppy Creek Sewer Interceptor Line, and McClure Street drainage. Dixieland Street is currently scheduled for completion in April of 2008. I have realigned our organization into 13 departments to establish direct accountability and to address specific issues. Each department head and their staff will be held accountable not only for job performance, but cooperation with other departments, local businesses, and outside communications with the city. Everyone is required to be a solid team player to accomplish our city and citizens' needs. When job responsibilities and accountabilities are assigned to employees in this manner, team players and leaders emerge. We have to consider both city and citizens' needs and are in the final stages of establishing priorities. We must stay focused on results and priorities. This entails affordable financing for ongoing projects, not only for this year, but for the next 5 years. A 5-year projection plan focusing on outcome plays a vital role not only in project financing and completion, but also in our city operations. Projects that have previously been worked on will be rescheduled for a later date. There are priority projects that need to be moved ahead so they can be completed in a timely manner. Along with this, we will establish specific timelines for financing and a specific timeline for completion of each project. We plan to have this completed within the next 30 to 45 days. We are now doing much of our engineering and construction inspection in-house with existing employees. This move has already produced savings of approximately $20,000 and is expected to save our city approximately $80,000 this year. Concerns of developers, builders, businesses, and citizens regarding our planning processes are being reviewed by our planning department. This review will include our entire land development code. We have held our first public hearing regarding the overlay district. This citizen, contractor, and development input is being considered. With cooperation of regional planning and at no expense to Lowell, a training session for planning personnel has been conducted by Jim Van Tunglen, owner of his own city planning consulting firm in Little Rock, and Tom Kicklack, our city attorney. These are just a few items completed as we start our review of the planning process, which leads directly into the effect of our economic development. We have attended meetings with corporate commercial realtors and the Rogers Lowell Chamber of Commerce to aid us in developing an economic development packet designed to attract potential developers and businesses to locate in Lowell. We are preparing flowcharts showing each step of all our working processes. These charts are a valuable tool in analyzing what we are doing as we search for duplication, unnecessary steps and files, performance standards, file retention, consolidation of duties, unnecessary meetings, etc. Our goal is to have the most economical and business-friendly systems and processes in Northwest Arkansas. For the first time, we have committees with citizen representation. These committees are utilities, street, sidewalk personnel, and a NACA representative. This will engage citizen involvement and input into our planning and implementation processes as we move forward. Citizen input is important. The Lowell City Court is now charging each defendant assigned community service a $10 fee for every day they work. This is in addition to their court fines and costs. Based on 2006 community service days work, this will add an additional $7,100 per year to our general revenue. This fee will offset the Saturday overtime expenses of city employees supervising and directing the work of these defendants. This option has always been available but was never taken advantage of. We have almost completed an interstate sign ordinance allowing businesses along I-540 to have a visible sign. This will encourage new businesses to locate in Lowell and bring attention to existing businesses, which in turn will create additional revenue for the city. This is an example of leading future development, not reacting to issues as they come up. This ordinance will be brought before the council for approval soon. We have sold and or traded vehicles and street equipment the city no longer has need for. Smith Communications is replacing our 30-year-old emergency tower with a new 200-foot mono tower, which will provide additional and more reliable emergency services for Lowell and new services for Smith. Negotiations with Smith Communications resulted in no expense to Lowell and will result in a savings of approximately $21,000 per year to our city for previously paid services. Our museum building at McClure and Honeysuckle has received considerable attention. Phase 1 includes 264 man-hours of community service workers cleaning up the grounds. Phase 2 is currently being conducted by the Arkansas Archaeological Survey to validate its historic value. The Park Committee and engineering personnel have redesigned Wardnail Park in a more usable and affordable park with construction underway. This committee has made an all-out effort with frequent weekly meetings on your behalf to design and develop a usable park in 1 to 2 years. Our new Parks and Special Events Coordinator has very ambitious goals for improving our existing parks and developing new parks as growth dictates. We are compiling a city business directory. Lowell businesses will have an opportunity to place ads in addition to a free basic listing. This directory, when completed in May, will be distributed to over 5,100 postal customers. Our objective is for citizens and those in our surrounding area to become more aware of the businesses located in Lowell. Our goal is to increase shopping and therefore increase the city's sales tax revenue. One of our citizens, Guy Shoemaker, has established a City Hall drive with his personal contribution and challenges citizens, businesses, employees, and city officials to contribute towards our goal for a new city hall. The goal is to eliminate the city's $8,200 a month rent. We have received a total of $2,200 in response to Mr. Shoemaker's challenge. This brings our new City Hall fund to $106,101. A plaque with the names of each contributor will be on the cornerstone of the new City Hall. The Meet with the Mayor Forum, the second Thursday of each month at Jim's Razorbacks Pizza, is exceeding my expectations. We have had council, planning, commission, and committee members that have been there to answer questions and to get better acquainted with our citizens. I would like to invite those that have not attended to come join us. Enjoy a cup of coffee or a soft drink on me in this formal gathering and discussion of various city issues. Citizen input counts. I would like to thank those citizens, employees, council and committee members, and volunteers who have put so much effort into improving our image and promoting Lowell as a good city in which to own a business, work, or call home. Only positive efforts like you have shown will move our city forward. Thank you. Next item on the committee on the agenda is the committee reports. Parks, Recreation, and Special Events. Who's going to report? Sean, come up to the...
Gets me by surprise. Thanks a lot, Sean. As far as the Wardnell Park project goes right now, we've been on hold the last couple weeks waiting for a piece of data processing equipment to finally become available. It's just become available. They're out now. They're out there right now grading the park and setting the lines for excavation and finally get moving on that. As far as the existing park goes, we had some damage to our pavilion from the last windstorm, dealing with insurance, trying to get that fixed, and working on some renovations to the ball fields. That's pretty much all that's going on in the Parks Committee right now.
Mudtown Days.
Oh, we got Mudtown Days coming up June 22nd and 23rd, and the Special Events Committee is meeting on that. Wednesday night at 6 o'clock right there at City Hall, and the vendors are they're working on getting vendors and lining everything up for Mudtown Days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Utilities Committee. Anything to report, Gary?
I want to jump up here and do this report before these other people take the microphone. I know they're eager to report, but we had a very outstanding, I thought, first meeting of this committee, and the highlight of the meeting was that Kamala Lamons and Carol Harmon agreed to be the co-chairpersons of the committee. So we were all very happy with that result, and under their leadership, we'll be doing great things. Just bullets, kind of what we discussed, the status of the Puppy Creek sewer, that our new completion date is now in October because of some excessive water problems we had early in the project. The Liddell Road and Lincoln Street Road water main projects have all been installed and are being tested for final completion at this point. We are just beginning, we'll just be beginning probably in 2 weeks, relocating 2 water mains related to the Dixieland Road Extension project. We discussed the step system management ordinance and the fee ordinance that our ordinance committee and the committee are looking at right now, and we will probably be bringing that to this city council for you to review in a couple, hopefully maybe in a couple of weeks. And they're pretty lengthy, so we'll probably give you a couple of additional weeks to read through them, but maybe in a month, 4 to 6 weeks, we could have that adopted, we hope. We also discussed the contract we have for solid waste collection with roll-off, that has been extended an additional 3 years, and there's some confusion about how to interpret the fuel adjustment clause, so we'll be bringing to the city council an amendment for you to approve that would clarify that calculation. We discussed the difference between step systems and STEG, S-T-E-G, septic tank gravity systems. We had a discussion about those differences. We talked about the bond, money that we have, and we discussed, we have about $1.3 million in that bond that is available for sewer projects, and we discussed 3 different projects that we are considering building with that money. We also discussed the possibility of the city obtaining a $2 million revolving loan fund loan from the state of Arkansas at 2.75%, and that's something that we, of course, would bring to you for you to consider later on if we pursue that. We discussed some other projects that we do not have funding identified for at this time: Christie Creek Sewer, Sabre Heights sewer problems, and Daisy Circle sewer problems have come to our attention, of course, as was mentioned earlier, and we discussed those for some period of time, trying to think of ways that those might be funded and whether or not the people who live in those areas would be willing to help pay part of the cost or not. We've decided to send a questionnaire into those neighborhoods to find out for sure how many people actually had problems before we did any other extensive work on that. So that pretty well summarizes the items that we talked about at the meeting.
Very good. Thank you, Gary. Guy, we'll adjust it. I mean, you wanted to speak during the public forum, but it's running a little late, so come on up, please.
Guy Shoemaker, 315 Center Drive. Mayor, I want to apologize. I was hoping that I could give you $1,100 tonight. I look at some of our leadership here, and I've begged now for 5 weeks for $100. I want to thank Carol. I want to thank Tom. I want to thank Eric and Marty Latham. And Tom Keelak, I said Tom. So I only have $100 for you tonight, Mayor. I'm really sorry. I've received nothing from nobody. I've checked with Janet, and nobody's contributed. So Max, would you take this up to the mayor, please? So I want to apologize, and I'll be back probably the second meeting in May. And I'd like to have the leadership of this city contribute, and that includes the fire chief and the police chief. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, Guy. We'll use the 100 for seed. Any old business the council wants to bring up? New business, Mr. Greg Steinfeld.
Well, as y'all know, I like to come and do fun things at the City Council, and this is one of those fun things. As you're probably aware, that Arvest Bank has the opportunity to request grants from the Walton Family Foundation. And it's my pleasure tonight to present a check to the fire department. And I'm going to let Leroy tell you what the funds will go to, but the check from the Walton Family Foundation for $5,000 for the fire department.
Greg, thank you very much.
First of all, I'd like to thank Arvest and Walton Foundation for this money. I'd also like to thank actually my officers. I'm just up here kind of because I got the white shirt and getting to do this. Really didn't have that much to do with it. I've got some officers behind me that did. Lieutenant Aaron Powell was one of the leaders in getting this done. We did submit a list to them requesting some equipment that we needed to primarily help our volunteers and help us do a better job at what we do. The money's going to go for emergency equipment in relation to firefighting and getting things done on the scene. We do have a fairly long list and didn't anticipate getting all that list funded, but we did through their generosity. So I'd just like to say thanks to Arvest, Greg, and Walton Foundation, and my guys that got it done. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Leroy. Next item on the agenda is to accept the resignation of Ted Morrell as Councilman, Ward 1, Position 2, effective April 6, 2007. I'll read his letter of resignation. Mayor Long, for both personal and health-related reasons, I have decided to resign the Ward 1 Position 2 seat on the Lowell City Council. The resignation will take effect immediately. Respectfully, Ted Morrell.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that we accept the resignation.
I'd like to second.
Any comments or questions? Roll call, please.
Kamala Lamons,
Yes.
Darren Brock,
Yes.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Carol Harmon,
Yes.
Sean Ingram.
At this, Kamala told me earlier that Ted's been in the hospital. Is that right? Do you want to tell us a little bit about how he's doing?
I don't really know for sure how he's doing. I just heard that last Monday or Tuesday he went to get a artery unblocked. So just keep him in your prayers.
As far as you know, he's doing all right.
Yes, he is home.
Okay. Oh, he's home. Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, this might be a good time to mention the process for how his position will be replaced.
You want me to go through it now? Or? Okay, let's just do it right now. We have placed 3 ads in the newspaper for the vacant council position. The deadline for applications is set for April the 24th. Copies of all applications and or resumes will be presented to the council in the packet for the May 1st meeting. Your consideration at that time. All applicants will be advised that public interviews will be conducted at the May 1st council meeting and given contact information for the council members should they want to contact them individually. Any comments? Next item on the agenda, I've received several calls, and I think this was largely stimulated by Rogers and Springdale when they started on their no parking in the yard. So as a result of these inquiries, I asked Keith and Darren to study this issue and give us their thoughts so the council would have some guidance on what they want to do. Gentlemen, you want to give us your results?
It doesn't matter. I'll start. We actually looked at this about 3 or 4 years ago when we passed an ordinance to limit parking in the streets between midnight and 5 a.m. And there was kind of an outcry that if you limit parking in the streets and you can only park in your driveway, some people may have some problems. So at that time we stopped looking at that, and I still think it's going to be an issue now. With you really can't have both ordinances. I don't really think it's fair to the citizens, but I know there are some people that are concerned, and I think it's a neighborhood by neighborhood situation. It's just a few individuals in certain neighborhoods. What I would propose is that the city put on maybe some type of maybe a class or some for some educational purposes for subdivisions that don't have POAs, maybe to teach them how to create POAs to enforce the covenants in those neighborhoods. Most covenants have, or most neighborhoods have covenants concerning parking in the yards. And so I would strongly encourage us as a city to educate our citizens if they're interested in forming POAs to deal with this situation. I don't really feel personally like it's a great, with us having a limitation with parking in the streets, I don't think it's a good idea to also limit what people can do in their front yards also. And also I think there's some questions as far as, I know that there's a lot of business owners and there's a lot of city officials or police and fire that they have emergency vehicles that they have, and sometimes they will park in the yard so they can easily get out if an emergency arises. So there's a lot of issues you have to deal with on that. But I have heard some complaints for and against this ordinance. So right now, I think if we are looking at doing this, I think we should hold some public hearings and get everyone to come in and let us know what they think about this. And if there is enough support, I think we should put it on a ballot for the citizens to decide. So that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I would add a couple of items. We did look at the Rogers and the Springdale ordinances, and the Springdale passed it. Rogers has not passed it. They're running across a lot of the same issues that we're looking at. Mainly what both of their ordinances were scheduled to do was allow you to park one vehicle in your yard parallel to your driveway. It gives you a 9-foot by 19-foot area that you can designate as an additional parking place in your residence. The Rogers ordinance, I know, called for that to be a landscape thing, which means you would need to put some gravel or somehow designate it to show that's not just yard, it's actually an additional parking place. So then you run into the additional issues is, okay, if you're going to require that, we have a lot of houses that are rental houses. So you're going to require the owner to do that for his renters, or the renter's going to have to do that, and it's improving the owner's property. So you run into a lot of additional issues if you require a landscape extra parking place, and so there's a lot of things to consider if it's something that we want to pursue.
Are you recommending we just kind of let it slide for the time being?
If there's a lot of demand for it, we can start holding public hearings. For right now, I think we should probably just hold off on it. Okay. And another thing is it's not a life safety issue. That's the whole reason we created the ordinance as far as parking in the streets. That was a life safety issue, and there's really not a life safety issue on this. It's a cosmetic issue, and I think we can work with the subdivisions and create, and the subdivisions that have the problems, we can help them create their own POAs to deal with it. So
we'll just not pursue it any further, and if the occasions come up, work with the specific areas. Okay, we'll do that. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to adopt the Section 125 cafeteria plan for the city of Lowell. Mary, do you want to come up and explain what the cafeteria plan is?
This is a housekeeping annual resolution. The Section 125 cafeteria plan allows us to pay when people pay their health insurance in their AFLAC payments. It comes off from the gross wages before taxes are figured. So it saves the employees a little money that way. But as the mayor pointed out, at the end of when they've retired, the amount of money that's been reported to Social Security would be less than what they actually made, which would maybe reduce their Social Security check a little bit. But anyway, this has been voted in the past. The employees have, when they did it, everybody wanted to do it and save a little money at this point in their lives. So this is just housekeeping. We do it annually.
Any comments? Do I hear a motion for adoption, please?
I'd like to motion to adopt this.
Thank you, Gary.
I'll second that.
Second. Any comments? Roll call.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Harold Harmon. Yes. Keith Williams.
Yes.
Sean Ingram.
Yes.
Darren Brock.
Yes.
Pamela Lamons.
Yes.
That will be resolution 07-08.
Next item on the agenda is ordinance committee, directing the ordinance committee to consider the issue of door-to-door salesmen and street vendors. This has come up quite a bit in the last couple or 3 weeks with puppy sales time. So I thought we ought to put it on the agenda and see if the council thinks the ordinance committee should look into these two items. Are there any comments from the public on this issue? Terry?
Mr. Mayor, distinguished members of the council, my name is Terry Sayer. I live at 207 South Melody. I would like to see the city adopt an ordinance similar to the city of Fayetteville, which simply reads, prohibiting the sale of animals from certain locations, except for established animal business enterprises with permanent structures, and the Fayetteville Animal Shelter, this is the Fayetteville ordinance, the Fayetteville Animal Shelter, the sale, distribution, and the giving away of animals from public property and from commercially and industrial zone land is prohibited. What we have in the city of Lowell is several vendors that are selling approximately 7 to 10 different breeds of puppies on our street corners. These puppies, about a third of them, will wind up in our animal shelters up and down the corridor from Bella Vista to Fayetteville. It's a shame that these folks are they're operating on the impulse buy. These folks come around and see a cute puppy. Okay, they got a cute puppy. It winds up to be a Weimaraner. A Weimaraner is a sporting dog. They are very active. They chew up everything. And then it winds up in our shelter because they live in a 2-room apartment. Most of these people, they don't care about where the puppy goes as long as they get their $300 to $500. Then they go home, breed another litter, and they're back out on our streets. Yes, me and my wife are pet owners, we're pet lovers. We deal in the pet industry. My wife's a pet groomer. I'm the president of the local kennel club. We love our dogs, we love our cats, but they become a nuisance when they're being sold out on the street. Not only traffic, but then they wind up in our animal shelters. The city of Lowell doesn't have a real big animal shelter yet, but it's look with, if this keeps up, we'll look at expanding that. We'll have to hire at least another animal control officer. You know, it's just, it kind of snowballs. You know, it's bad enough that we have the puppy millers out of Missouri that, you know, come down here. Most of these people don't even live in the state, and they just show up on our street corners. I know when we were fighting it in Federal, you know, we'd sit in front of Hobby Lobby, and here they'd roll in Missouri tags, Oklahoma tags, Arkansas tags from over in Madison County. You know, there's great people over there, but, you know, they just come over here to make $1 and go home. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Guy?
Mr. Mayor, I'm all for this ordinance, but I'd like to see some teeth put in it. In California, you can't transport an animal in the back of a truck unless it is tethered on the right or left side of the vehicle. Sunday just went down 540. There were 6 dead dogs. And you come down 71B here, there's dogs at Arvest Bank being sold. There's dogs over there at the Come and Go. There's dogs over here at the Shell station and the other station across the street. They should not be allowed to sell dogs in this city without a license. And they should also have to provide a certificate that the dog has had its shots and has been inspected by a veterinarian. We don't need dogs running loose in this town. I don't know how many of you listen to Kern Radio, but today some guy called in, somebody dumped 4 dogs in his front yard last night. And this has got to stop. Thank you.
Thank you, Guy. Any comments? Anybody else have any comments? Any comments from the council?
Yes.
Eric?
Mayor, the one thing that we're also missing on this is the door-to-door.
Yes.
You know, being a father of 2 children, the one thing that I dislike is for my children to answer the door to people I don't know. I know in other cities they have ordinances where any door-to-door salespeople have to actually check in through the city's office, and there's other stipulations that they have to abide by. And I'm definitely interested in keeping our citizens safe, especially in this day and age when we have to worry about our children.
Thank you, Eric.
I definitely agree with Terry and with Guy that this is definitely a problem. I saw the same thing on Sunday, peddling puppies. And how do you know these puppies are disease-free? You don't. They do need to be inspected, and they need to be sold by, like Terry said, from a stable position, a stable home. And if these vendors want to sell them from their home, then they need to have a business license and sell them that away. And the door-to-door ordinance, isn't there a green ordinance? Tom, you may have to answer this. Isn't there a green ordinance that prevents door-to-door sales?
We have in effect right now, or that you can pass one. You can't prevent door-to-door sales. You can't. The Supreme Court has called that a speech issue. Actually, going door-to-door, it's called that commercial speech. Just like we cannot outlaw leaflets on cars. You know, that's been tried. A couple cities to the south of us, Alma and Van Buren, surrounding cities, all got sued just a couple of years ago by the Tony Alamo folk. Mm-hmm. Successfully, unfortunately. So we can't outlaw that, but we can, you know, as Eric pointed out, regulate that, make them get permits, and make them pay for a business license, and at least that way, like you said, go through a process. So we know that they're there, and then the police department knows that they're there.
Can we restrict the hours? I mean, only during daylight
Yes.
hours we can?
Yes.
I make a motion that we do that.
Are you making a motion that we
Have an ordinance for
prepare an
door-to-door?
ordinance committee for each of these?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Any comments? Roll call.
Now, this is a motion to direct the ordinance committee to consider these items, correct? Yes. Okay. Darren Brock,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Kamala Lamons,
Yes.
Sean Ingram,
Yes.
Carol Harmon. Yes.
We will gather what information we have and forward it to the ordinance committee so they can start to work on this, and of course we'll be available to help them. Next item on the agenda, an ordinance amending Exhibit A of Schedule Fire and EMS Impact Fees to Ordinance Number 719, an ordinance establishing the fire impact fee on certain impact-generating land development in the city of Lowell. Basically, what this amounts to, when it was passed in 2005, it was mistyped. And that's what the ordinance is for, is to correct the errors on over 2001, 001, 200,000 001 and 100,000 001. These corrections are shown on the ordinance. Any comments? Do I hear a motion to adopt?
I make a motion to adopt this ordinance.
It'll have to suspend the rules first.
I'm sorry. Yes, you're correct. Make a motion to suspend the rule and place this on third and final reading.
Final reading.
By title only.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any comments? Roll call.
Darren Brock,
Yes.
Sean Ingram,
Yes.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Carol Harmon,
Yes.
Kamala Lamons.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to do pass the ordinance?
So moved.
Then does he have to read it first?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
I think you have to read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending Exhibit A, Schedule of Fire and EMS Impact Fees to Ordinance Number 719, an ordinance establishing the fire impact fee on certain impact-generating land development in the city of Lowell, Arkansas.
Move to do pass.
I'll second.
Any comments? Roll call.
Keith Williams,
Yes.
Carol Harmon,
Yes.
Sean Ingram,
Yes.
Darren Brock,
Yes.
Eric Shine,
Yes.
Kamala Lamons.
Yes.
That will be ordinance number 784.
Next item is setting the committee meetings. Justin, did you say there's a park meeting tomorrow night?
No. That's the volunteers.
What is Monday?
We're going to do a Parks Committee meeting this upcoming Monday. That will be the 23rd at 6 p.m. And it's going to be over at City Hall, the conference room.
And then to my knowledge, the special events will be Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Volunteer committee. That's not,
Special events.
Wednesday, that'll be the 25th. Wednesday, the 25th.
I thought we were having Mudtown Days meeting tomorrow night.
We do. We do have one coming up tomorrow night. The next one to be scheduled.
There's another one coming around.
Okay.
Street and Sidewalk Committee, are there any meetings set for that?
There are no current meetings set for that, and I'm not aware of any issues that needs to be set at this time.
No Personnel Committee meeting set. Utility Committee,
That'll be the 21st of May, and that's on a Monday at 6 p.m. at City Hall. This is a utilities meeting.
no, that's planning commission meeting.
Well,
Check the city calendar before you set them.
Planning commission's not where they have their meeting.
No, but it's in conflict for people that want to be at both. We don't set them at the same times.
okay. Okay, we'll reschedule it.
Reschedule. Ordinance committee meetings.
Looks like we're going to have one, so we probably need to. I know that Ted was on the committee. We probably need to. Marty was also on the. She still is on the committee, but we probably need to fill Ted's position. If we want to do that tonight, we can. If there's anyone interested in being on serving that committee on the council. If there's anyone interested in serving on this committee. Anyway, I don't have a calendar in front of me. We can look at setting it later. We'll look at the city calendar.
Okay, we'll set the ordinance committee later. Next item on the agenda is referred to as adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
I second that.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Thank you, audience, for coming.